Hi, I'm Bill Donohue, president of the Catholic League. This is Mike McDonald. Used to work in the Trump administration, so you know what side he's on. Anyhow, Mike's done a great job here. He's been director of communications for a number of years. Now, we've been doing a lot of posts and podcasts on the 250th anniversary. Of course, we have our billboard in Times Square and the like, but we're trying to remind people of why Americans should be justly proud of America, not running away from any of the critics. Indeed, we like to take them on. And today, we want to talk about patriotism. Who are the most patriotic and who are the least patriotic?
Yeah, so Bill, this is a very interesting subject. We've spoken a lot about this over the years of the Catholic League, looking at commitment to not just the nation saying like rah rah rah, but military service, voluntary service, those types of things. And interestingly enough, you've pointed out that it's generally like people from the working middle class tend to be much more patriotic. They serve more in the military. They're much more willing to give of their time in service to their fellow countrymen. And much more involved in religion. They have their head screwed on straight when it comes to as a man, a woman type deal. But it's the more highly educated that are much more critical of the country. They tend to have a much more negative view of the country and score less well on all of those other things. Can you explain why people are coming to these sort of contradictory conclusions? The people that are not as well off love the country more, and the people that are well off hate the country.
Well, let me pick up on the element of religion. Now, we know by political party, the Democrats are the least patriotic. Doesn't surprise me. The Republicans are the most patriotic. But there's a kind of an intervening variable here, religion. People who are religious tend to be more patriotic than the people who are not. And we find that the unaffiliated are the least patriotic. Young people are the least patriotic. Now let's just focus on young people and the highly educated. One of the things they have in common, obviously, is the question of what's going on in higher education. Now there was a very interesting article. I read it in the Wall Street Journal earlier this year, and I held on to it, Mike, because I knew at some point we have to play this. Two named researchers looked at American Studies Association, their quarterly publication. They looked at about 100 studies done on America. What they found is that about 80% of them were critical of America. 20% were neutral. Not one single article published in their American Quarterly, the Journal of the American Studies Association, was positive about America. Is it any surprise then that the young people have been indoctrinated with this? We've known about this for some time, but to have this kind of study of a major journal about American studies, not one single article that is positive about America, and at the same time, you wonder, well, the professors are the ones, the highly educated, who are teaching them, and the young are out there. It's startling.
Yeah, and I know we've spoken about this a lot, rootlessness. And it seems to be, and I know you want to lengthen this in your most recent book, Cultural Meltdown, looking at some of this notion of the people that are anti-religion, they're working against the sort of bonds that religion form. And patriotism also forms a similar bond. Would you say that that's at root here, that by stripping people of their roots, it makes them easier to mold into this
Right.
uber civilization?
There's a word in the English language called deracinated. It means you've lost your roots. And once you've lost your roots with your country or with your God, they don't like America, they don't believe in God, there it is. It's not that hard to figure out. Though, what was striking to me, Mike, and the one that I was a bit surprised with. I'm not surprised at the educated people, the least patriotic, the least religious. We've known that for a long time. But that the poor, the people in terms of income class, the poor are the most patriotic. 90% of them love America. And you have to struggle to figure out why would they be the most patriotic. Perhaps they instinctively know that they know of people in other parts of the world, perhaps even some of their own ancestors and some of the people in their own family who live in other parts of the world, perhaps in Latin America. They realize that while they may not be sharing in America's bounty the way the more affluent members are, they're still proud and very happy to be Americans. So if the people at the bottom of the income scale, the socioeconomic income scale, that they are the most patriotic, and when you get up to the top, they tend to be the least patriotic, that's a very bad sign. Because you know what? Countries go to war. And if you don't feel that you're patriotic, if you feel like you've been taught to hate America, just as they found out the American Studies Association, why would you want to give up your life? But
Right.
if you understand that this is the freest country in the history of the world, in the history of the world, with all of its flaws, then if you're not going to defend America, whose country would you want to defend? Because no country can eclipse us in terms of liberty and prosperity. It's shocking.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, I hope this has been informative to you people because the results, they're very interesting, even though they're somewhat disturbing. Thank you.